Everybody, Carol here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be making 10 cards from one kit of Simon Says stamp for the July 2018 season. But I wanted to tell you it may be 10 out of 14 or 15 because as long as I have supplies and ideas, I might keep going with this. But just not today because it would just make this video way too long, and I'm trying to rush through it as it is so that it won't be too long. But I will probably come back. If you will please check back in a few to several days, and I will probably list those videos as cards 4 through of the 14 cards, or cards, the last 5 cards of 15 cards, so that you'll know what to how to recognize it. But anyway, and then there are some other, there's one other for sure that I need to do a whole video on, and that's the first one coming up because I couldn't go into the detail to explain how to even make it. So thank you for being here today. I hope you enjoy. And Simon Says Stamps has some really nice supplies, and I'm going to show them to you briefly. In this box, when you open it up, and it comes in this bag, and I'm going to go through this very quickly. Stickers, puffy stickers, stamps, a piece of candy, can't leave that out, colored cardstock that goes well together with these other things, foam tape, beautiful glittery paper, one sheet there small, and then some scored cardstock, white, in one envelope, and then this cardstock pattern paper. I mean, it's cardstock, and I used most of it. So here is the first card that I will have a video coming up pretty soon because it just takes more to explain it. I can't explain it here in this amount of time, but it's an accordion shadow box card. At least that's what I'm calling it. And I made it with the die. There is a die in this set for that flamingo, and I cut it out. In the accordion folds, you make layers. And I'll show that to you later. Now the next card is the pineapple with the sunglasses, and I stamped that off, and it says your one cool pineapple. I went around the edge of that white paper on the top half with a sponge and put yellow ink around it, smeared it out, stamped the pineapple and the saying. I used one of the pieces of cardstock at the bottom, and then another little strip of cardstock, and then this beige paper that is mine, but you could use white paper. It has a little print to it, but you could use white paper and put some kind of tan ink around it. I made a little bitty hill there to make it look like the sand dune was coming up over that other. I was just showing with the paper hole puncher that it could cover up that hole, and I'll explain that later. That's in the tablet at the top. Gives you another ½ inch of paper. Now this was a solid sheet of cardstock that I cut in strips so that I could make a basket weave, and I'm showing you how it's loose and how that moves around. They really are woven in and out of each other, and some of those little sayings that also came in the card pack. So I did the cactus. I made one. I just cut the arms off and elongated the cactus, and put them, by that I just drew some extra lines and made it longer. Once I cut it out, I went back and drew in the thorns. Those are the arms of the cactus that I cut off, and just showed a little extra piece of, that's what that paper would be like, cut in strips like that. Cut a sun, put it up in the corner, and very sunshiny summer look. Now the next card, I used some of these striped cardstock on there, but I backed it with the yellow so I could have more and not have to use it all up. Used one of the strips of paper that were in the card pack patterns, and there are 2 or 3 that would have fit just fine in there, but I liked that one. Then I started going with the stickers, which I don't use stickers very much, but I really like these. That one was so clear that I backed it with some blue paper so that it would show out. Put the flower. I'm showing how another one would have worked. And then the glasses and the little gold pieces, they shine. And I'm just going to show you what I've done with this sticker pack. I have just cut it to pieces because I'll typically cut it out and then lay it on the card to see if I like the way it looks. But not completely cut it out, but just so that I can put it on the card. And I thought that would be a cute look too with the birds and the colors. So they mix and match so well. I think you could have a lot of fun with this card kit. Now the next one is their colored cardstock, but I extended the use of that colored cardstock by putting a white panel on the back with just a little 1/2 inch tab that can glue to the front. So I did the pink and the blue, and then again this beige that I have that I got 100 years ago. I don't know where, maybe Goodwill even. But again, just use white paper and put your tan on it, and you can draw little dots if you want to. I laid that down for the sand, then put another piece, use a sticker of the umbrella, and I wanted it to look as if it were in between the sand hills. I put that beautiful peacock and then the beautiful sticker. I just had that piece of paper under him there so that I could not stick to everything it touched, and then it was just the release paper, so it just came off so easily. But beautiful colors and beautiful image. Now I'm using the back piece of this cardstock, but I wanted to show you it, and that's just about all I have left. But I wanted to show you that it's not just plain lightweight blue paper, it is cardstock. And I just thought I would play with the fish stamp that's on this in this set. And I just got it in my head to make a circle or an oval and a light background and then a dark background and foreground, and then color it. So I would tap it on the ink pad and then tap it off 2 or 3 times on the scrap paper for the background, then stamp it. Then when I got to the top layer, I went ahead and used it full force, one stamp on the ink pad and then 1 time on the front. I did the bubbles. I even drew in some seaweed, which I am not an artist, but anybody can just make wavy lines, and that's what I thought I would just do to give it a seaweed look. Then with a white jelly roll pen, I just made some waves. I mean, elementary school, but I used a chalk pencil and just to give it a little more color. Certainly you could go back and do the fishing happy birthday, fishing you happy birthday. You could stamp that right in the center of that circle, or you could stamp it on the inside of the card. There it is, there's that stamp. But I left it blank this time. Use your imagination. And so there are all the bubbles in different colors, different colored fish. Now this is the way the paper came in the pack. I'm just showing you. I wanted to use fish on this, but I wanted the lines, the darker waves, so to speak, to go sideways, east and west. And so in order to do that, I had to cut my paper off to make it to fit my card. And these are all 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I laid it sideways and cut it out so that the waves would be going across. And so I had to go back and get some other little pieces to fill in those corners. And so whatever I chopped off, I went back and put on the corners. And as I've shown you on some of these others, I use a lot of makeup sponge with a neutral ink and go around the edges. You can see it there just to kind of frame off these edges of these pictures. So I just cut me some corners out of the scraps. There was actually a hole punch on that little side right there that was at the top of the tablet, and so I slid that in there to cover up where the hole was, and then started working with my fish. I did cut them out, but it's easy cutting. Colored them with Prismacolors and put them on there and stacked a couple. I use Tombow Monomulti glue. It's repositionable if you let it dry clear, and then you can pick things up and move them around, and it's such a great glue for that reason. Now I decided to cut a little slit and let one of the fish go down in as if it's down into the waves. I just used a little simple craft knife, and it was like a gift from, a little gimmick type gift from a company, and so I just put that in there and slid the fish in, and then I decided I wanted one more fish, so I colored it and put some of the foam tape, mounting tape, and raised it up, and that was it. A very simple card, and I need to go back and put the bubbles for these fish. I didn't put the bubbles on these. You don't have to, but I think it would look nice. And so then now here's the next card. I'm making this up and down, folded at the top, and using that beautiful glitter paper. It's so special. I wanted it for something really pretty, so I chose one of the peacocks because they are so gorgeous. And it was one of the stickers. So I wanted to highlight the peacock's head and face. And so I did a box of black with white on top, went around the edges. You may can see that. And then I want to put the peacock there. You'll see what I mean, just to highlight his face or her face. And so peeling this off, I'll show you two ways. The long feathers, tail feathers, directly onto the paper is fine because the beautiful glitter paper shows through, but then I thought you might not could see the tail feathers all that well, so I went back and put some white paper underneath it, and you'll see that in a minute. And so then I decided to use the sentiment Wonderful that came out of the sticker set, and there it is up close where you can see how pretty that peacock is, and mounted it on the black and white the same as up above for its head. I thought about putting the best, and I liked that. Then I decided to go with Wonderful and put it on there. And I also thought about taking one of the stickers, cutting it in half, and putting it back behind the Wonderful sign, but I just thought it detracted a little bit from the peacock. It does add color, but I just wanted the peacock to be the center of attention, so I took that off and just put the Wonderful down there. Just think it's such a pretty card. It's simple, but the elements are just beautiful. So there it is. And I couldn't decide what I was going to use that paper for. I wanted it to be special. So, and I'm lining that up because I noticed that it wasn't exactly lined up perfectly. Again, that repositionable glue is so good for that. You can just move things around. Now here's the next one. I'm using the yellow card base, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And again, that beige paper I have because it's kind of sandy, beachy look, but again, you definitely don't have to have this. I don't even know if it's in existence anymore, but anyway, so I cut it like a hillside or a sandy beach. Then I cut another little teeny strip at the back. Actually, this is not a beach. This is a more of a desert look. It's a warm weather cactus card, warm climate, I should say. But so I'm putting that back there. I put the neutral ink edging on both of those so that they would really stand out and excuse me, show that they're two different hills. Now I wanted a table, excuse me, set out in the desert. So I just did a rectangle and made a little tablecloth. And these are stickers, obviously, of long, tall cacti, and put them down. And the second one, I put kind of tucked in that hill, just to, give it more dimension. The tablecloth, I just drew some lines, parallel lines there, and just offhand did a little pleat there, the way a tablecloth will pleat sometimes on the corners. This was this stamp, the sun stamp, is in the set, And there are some more stickers. I decided to play with one sticker that I wouldn't even normally do, but I just had so many, and this one really doesn't show up too much, but I'm making a table runner out of one of those banners. Just one little added accent that up close you can see it. It doesn't show up too much here, but just a very subtle look. Then I'm putting the picture on the table. In other words, this is like someone's backyard. They're maybe on their patio, setting out, or I should say sitting out with a pitcher and some cups, and maybe going to serve somebody some coffee or whatever, any beverage. And so I was having a little bit of a hard time getting that sticker up, but I do find it works pretty well to use the tweezers because I can see more where I want to place something without my fingers getting in the way. So there's another sun. I'll try to trim it down there a little bit, and I'll stick it up in the corner. Didn't do anything spectacular with that. I'll go back and cut off the edges. And then I found this sticker that I really hadn't even noticed because it's just white on white. And I thought, what is that? And I looked and I realized it says, "Yes, please." And I thought, oh my goodness, that for a beverage like "yes, please," it's just a subtle little saying, and I just thought it looked so cute. Just why not? Just put that on there, "Yes, please." I ran off the card at first and had to replace it. And then this darling little bird that, again, these colors go together so well. And so I just thought I'll put him on the ground right by the table. Just for interest, added color, just to finish off the card, except for the sentiment. And then I am going to put the sentiment in the middle. I could have done that one again, the best, or I decided on "You Made My Day." So when I put it there to see where it was, I realized the cups probably needed to move over a little bit to give that some space. So they pulled up really well and went right back down and stuck again. So I was pleased about that. So here comes the "You Made My Day." Placing it where I want it, and there you have it, a very bright, hot, sunny day. I'm just leaving that table sticking off the side and the bottom because I will just put it, and I'm just cutting off that sticker, I will just put it in a larger envelope. And so I was just kind of showing how I drew those lines. Nothing rocket science at all. I'm just was basically just playing. I didn't even know if I could do it, but I was okay with the way it turned out. So just coloring up the sun a little bit, no big deal, just adding some color. And so there is that one. But that just shows the versatility of this kit. I mean, these colors are beautiful and they just work so well together, and your mind just goes and goes with all the ideas you can come up with. So now that is the back side of the cardstock. I'm not using it. I'm using red and white polka dot, and I finished it off with a piece of white and attached it again with a 1/2-inch flap to save my cardstock. This is going to be about watermelon. So I stamped off the stamp that said, I think it says 1 in a million. I can't even read it from here, but I think it's "You're 1 in a million." And then I stamped off the watermelons. I just used a mask, and so I could stamp them. There's just one stamp, but I just kept masking off and stacking them. And what I was showing with that little white piece of paper is the little bites. There are 2 little bite cutouts on those watermelons. I think it's so cute where someone has taken a bite, and I didn't know if you could see it or not. So anyway, I went back and erased my lines. I kind of just had a little idea of where I wanted to put those. And these are also in the sticker kit, and they're little bees flying around, buzzing around, something very sweet, and just placed them around, whatever. I just thought they went really with the polka dot. It'd been cute with check too, like a checkered tablecloth. but I like the colors there too. And then I decided to move it a little bit. That's, again, you can do that. I don't know how many times you can do it, but you can do it some. Now, if you wanted to go back and cover that inside with a piece of white paper, you certainly could do that. But if you don't mind that other pattern paper showing on the inside, it's seasonal, so it looks fine. Well, thanks for joining me. I'm so glad you came by. I am sorry it was so rushed, but I just didn't want to keep you too long. But do please check back and see these other videos. It'll be a few days to several days. I may can even spread it out over a couple of weeks. I don't know yet, but I'll see how it goes. But please come back. I'd love to have you, and let me know in the comments, if you will, which one is your favorite card. So thanks again, and we'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.